All right, you legends, yet another day. Fall has come to southeastern Texas. It is about 5 Celsius or so, 42 degrees Fahrenheit. Feels cold, feels colder than that because we have a lot of humidity in our area. And a few days ago it was 70 something, 80, you know, it's like it warms up. Today it's supposed to be 75 for a high, but by the time we're done, probably a little after that. So you never really get used to the cold, so you have to dress appropriately. I like to keep my hands toasty and my feet covered. Torso kind of takes care of itself, but it is cold, and where we're going it's always colder with all the trees and everything. So get some clips for you all, and I think it'll be interesting.
On this ride, I left Northampton, rolled into the woodlands, picked up the group at the Alden Village Center. We headed out on Research Forest. We went out, we took 1488 West. They finally finished their construction on the overpass there. We headed out towards on Jackson Road, 1486 into Dobbins. We stopped at the store there. We headed out towards Dacus. That was off camera. Went through the forest. There were a bunch of flats on this ride. One of the riders had multiple flats, and so I rode to the store by myself. The group caught back up, and then we went back. We split because the day was kind of running late. So some of the guys went directly back. We took Spring Branch Road through the neighborhood, Keenan there, and went back into town. By the time we got to Honia Ija, I went back, did an extra loop. Kind of wanted to do a little more time because it was such a beautiful day, and I just kind of wanted to get some more hours in my legs because the way my week had gone. I think you would like the few clips we put together for you. You should find it interesting. We're on the open road. We're heading towards Taminat Boulevard. This is one of the coolest mornings we've had in the area. It says 8 Celsius. It's about 45 degrees or so, thereabout. It's cold because we've been very warm most of November. We're talking about batteries on the shifters because a member of the group, his name is Garrett, he was riding with us, and about a block behind he had to stop because his shifter's coin cell battery, I think he's got SRAM. That's my Garmin Varia disconnecting and reconnecting to the network is in the radar light. Anyway, he had to stop to buy a 2032 battery. He ends up riding back and catching us when we stop. Somebody ends up having a flat on 1488 West, so he was able to get back with the group. But anyhow, check your batteries because when the weather gets cold, even your car, if you have a weak battery, that's when it has trouble cranking your engine in the morning. So those coin cell batteries they quit when they're done. I have them in my heart rate monitor belt, and it'll just you'll go on one ride and it's perfect, and then the next day you put it on, it's just kaput. It's the same thing with the cadence sensor that I have. It uses that same 2032. They just run till they die. There's no warning or anything, and you don't have any software on the head unit that tells you the battery's low or whatever. That would be nice, but they just quit on you. That's what happened to him. But the good thing is they're common. You can get them in Walmart or wherever. So that was his plan, to go to one of the stores, pick up one to continue his ride. And he was able to do that. That's why I'm not jumping on the bandwagon of all these electronic stuff. And even Laura is on a spare bike today because her electronic shifter on the right, she says when she actuates it, she hears the sound and everything, but nothing's happening. It's just not going, it's not cycling through the gears. And so once that happens, it's an electronic failure inside the unit because she has plenty of power. It's not a battery issue. That's what we're talking about. She's not having a power problem. So one of the circuits have failed. That's electronics. They just fail. You remember the old TVs? They would just fail. You lose a transistor or something, you know. So you transfer that to these small units that we're putting in the handlebars or whatever in the shifters When they quit, they quit. So the shop is trying to figure out, it's kind of hard to diagnose. And when people bring them to my shop, I just replace the whole thing because you can't service it. It's just I just don't have the technical know-how to get into electrical components and try to replace what's broken. And Shimano says not to do it anyway, and I wouldn't even attempt it. So that's what her bike's in the shop. So she's using her spare frame today. And then you will hear the two of us talking about her frame is laminating. The paint is peeling. That's the spare frame she's on. Her paint on her Cervelo and it's top of the line. It's like having a Mercedes AMG and the paint is lifting after a few years. Mercedes will step up. And that's why I told her, I said, they need to step up, because if they don't, we need to tell everybody don't buy a Cervelo, because it's not like a department store bike. She bought top of the line stuff. She's a serious rider. So if you're going to spend big bucks, you need to have some kind of warranty or something. The paint is laminating, and I paint bikes. Sometimes you paint 10 frames and one doesn't quite go right, and you got to strip the frame and redo the paint job. Sometimes you get waves in it because I'm very anal. If it's not perfect, I'll redo it. It happens. That's paint. And they're asking all kinds of questions about not her directly through the shop, because she has to take it as a fellow dealer. Did you power wash the bike? What are you washing the bike with? What the hell is you washing the bike? You're washing the bike with soap. I tell you, what did you brush your teeth with? Toothpaste. What the hell is you gonna wash the bike with? They just want to, supposedly. I'm like, please. Laura's bike is so clean. When she brings it to me for service, all I gotta do is polish the bike. She takes care of that bike. It's like the paint is bubbling up like a blister after a rainy ride in multiple places, even on her handlebar. The clear coat is bubbling up. That's clear that there's a problem with the paint. And it's time you either warranty the paint or give her a new frame. She spent big dollars for it. The bike Laura rides is barely UCI legal, and she didn't do anything extra to get it there. So Cervelo made that frame top of the line stuff. This is where the lane, the shoulder comes back. The construction ends right there. So in about another week or so, it will be open all the way to the street we turned from. But even when it was closed, I would use that lane by myself. During the week, I come out here to train. And I'm not gonna I take the whole lane. But anyway, what I was saying is, they made that top of the line stuff. She paid big dollars for it. She takes good care of the bike. She services the bike meticulously. I mean, come on, what more is she supposed to do? She just rides the bike on one rainy ride. All of a sudden, she noticed in several spots at the same time, the clear coat was just lifting like there was air under it. Even on the bar, the handlebar. So the clear coat failed. Something got in there and the water caused it to whatever. Then, take it, send it back to the paint shop, let them sort it out. It can be done. Or give her a new frame. So I said, don't make sure they don't talk you into giving you a discounted purchase on another frame, because they're real good about that. Always want to take more money from you. No, you already giving them enough. So she's trying to see what they would do. If they don't step up, I'm gonna make sure I would let everybody know. Stay away from Cervelo. Don't spend your big dollars there. The bike industry already struggling. You're gonna make these specialized machines. They need a function. We got 20-year-old bikes coming into my shop to be refurbished. Nothing wrong with the paint. And these are $700-800 bikes. Why is it the ones that are 10,000 can I hold up? I mean, come on. Let's be real here. So she's been very patient. She's gone through a lot with her bike. She had a lot of hassles with the headsets. We finally got it sorted. And now she's dealing with paint and this and that. The forks were having issues with getting rings on them from the wedge. They used an aluminum wedge, and the carbon didn't like it. So it was putting a ring on it. It's just all kinds of stuff they do. I think they lighten it up too much. That's what I believe. You gotta have more material on there. So you will hear us talking about it when we're waiting for Ed. Ed's gonna have a flat in a few kilometers after he takes his pull. He ends up having another flat in a forest, And then he ended up going through a lot of tubes because I rode on ahead because I had backed off my pace. Because the way my week went, I needed to keep my effort steadier. After we did all my favorite climbs, I backed off. And then I came across them a few kilometers down in the forest, and they were repairing stuff. So I just kept spinning, thinking they would catch up to me, but they never caught up until I got to Taco. And then the group split up. Half of the group had to go straight back because it was kind of late in the morning, but I still needed the kilometers. I ended up actually going back for another hour or so to just get extra miles in my legs because it's just such a beautiful day and fair weather, and I finally got a chance to be on the bike. So I took advantage of that. You know. So I don't know if the camera catches it here. I think you may have noticed earlier, there's a rider in the group called Logan, and his leg warmers keep falling down. And it was bothering the guy because he kept reaching down while pedaling to pull it up. And this is our industry that annoys me. I don't care what you pay for something. When you get it, it better do what they advertise. If it doesn't, send it back. They do the same thing with tools. And you buy these tools and they don't have everything you need to execute all the tasks you need to use that tool for. But when it's advertised, they advertise as if to say, this is the complete bearing press or whatever else you're getting. Get that a lot. And then you spend good money and it's like, you're like, do I send it back or the shipping alone? You know, because they're heavy. It's just a hassle. It's like it's almost like you feel like you were gypped. So Logan ended up, when this guy has a flat, he pulled off the leg warmers because it was just sliding down. It wouldn't hold its position. So unless the leg warmers are old, if you buy any leg warmers or arm warmers and you try them on and they don't stay in place, send them back because they're supposed to stay in place. That's the whole point. You're putting them on to keep your arm warm. And if this slide down, you're going to be cold. And some of the people say they call their stuff, especially the non-branded ones. There's another reason why we tend to, the pros are using this, let's try that. Because if they used it in their very long ride, they ride a lot more than you or I. So obviously it's got to work, you assume. And most of the time, that's the case. You know, because they're not going to wear crap that doesn't work if they're out there riding in cold weather, you know. Just like these shoe covers and the overshoes for the rain. I've yet to find one that keeps your feet completely dry. And you know, there's one made by Velo Toes. It's like a rubber, almost like a rubber tube you put on. And that bad boy, yeah, it's great when it's messy. It will keep your shoes clean. But the problem is, you sweat. You see Logan on the right there? Look at his leg. You can see his skin. That thing's sliding now. He's been trying to pull him up while he was riding. You see it? He's been trying to pull him up, and it keeps sliding down. And I'm like, so in that situation, if it's fairly new, send it back. They make a product, it needs to do what it says it's going to do. Not just for cycling, just anything. Because they bank on the fact that nobody wants to hassle with returns. And they figure, okay, if we sell 10 of this and only 2 people return, we're still ahead. I'm sure they do that. I'm sure they calculate that. I think everybody needs to send it back. The product doesn't do what you want. Send it back. Get your hard-earned money back. I mean, I'm not saying if you use the products for years and then it starts falling down or whatnot, it's time to get a new one. Maybe the elastic is gone. Or take it to the alterations so they can put a new band on there or whatever. Because when it's cold, you don't need that sucker sliding down. Because we don't get used to the cold here. Like today, I'm doing this narration, we're in the 80s. Like, it's a swing of 45 degrees in 2 days. As far as the low, you know, from the low. So one day it's cold, it might be hot for 2 days, then it gets cold for one day, you know. And even that day, it warms up during the day. So we have to wear stuff. So because of that, most of us that know we prefer leg warmers or arm warmers. I only wear full tights if the day is going to stay below 65. Because if it's staying below 65, where we go, I know it's going to feel cooler. It takes a long time to get that sorted, because we're on a ride. After this ride, I rode a cafe ride on Sunday, and a lot of the riders were overdressed. Within an hour of the start, the temperature jumped up tremendously, and the wind was blowing from the south, so it got balmy. And guys were hot, because some of them were wearing long sleeve jerseys, and that's all they had. You've got to look at the forecast. You got to look at where the wind's coming from. You got to walk outside before you leave in the morning. Details matter. So I titled this Steady Group Speedwork because we're going pretty fast, 24 miles an hour, but it's steady. So nothing's wrong with sitting at the back. I had mentioned a while back, jokingly about wheel suckers and whatever else. Nothing wrong with sitting in the back or being a wheel sucker. The problem is, don't sit in the back for the whole ride and then sprint for a city limit sign, because that's not cool to the people who've been pulling the group. Because if you're not strong enough to pull or not willing to pull, then don't participate in the sprints. You want to participate in the sprint, then you should have been doing some other work. That's only fair. Because you won't be popular if you sit in all day in a group ride, then want to show how fast you are in a sprint. No, people remember that. They remember. So remember that. If you're sitting in because you're tired, or you want to take it easy, or it's too fast for you or whatever, sit in the whole ride. Let people in front of you if you must. And appreciate being towed along at a faster speed. We're doing 25 miles an hour. It's a slight downhill, -1 or whatever. But this part of the shoulder, look how clean it is. Nice and clean. It's a shoulder. This is not a bike lane. John Z, who runs the Sunday ride, he said that when they're riding on part of their Sunday ride, they go on a road called 2920, where they've got these little washboard strips by the white line. Then they've got a shoulder, which is very dirty, glass. I mean, we don't ride on it. Basically, I don't ride there anyway. I don't like using it that much. But basically, the group is big enough so we take the right lane. It's 2 lanes. And he says that every now and then they get people yelling at them to use the bike lane. It always blows my mind that the most ignorant people want to act like they know. There's nothing on here that says this is a bike lane. And they don't even know. It's a shoulder. It's a breakdown lane. It's not. We just use it as a courtesy. That's all it is. We have the right to use the road, but this is there. Why not? It's clean. It's safe. We use it. It's our judgment. So they're driving by yelling at the Sunday group because they're riding in the right lane, telling them to use the bike lane, like somebody told them the shoulder is the bike lane. The lane is so dirty, they throw glass out of their cars when they drive. So all the broken bottles and shards of glass is there. It's rarely swept. It's 2920 west near an area called Tomball. And they don't sweep it that often. It's a mess. I wouldn't drive my car on that shoulder. It's so junky. This is where he had the flat. But as soon as he pulled off, Ed had the flat. And somebody called out. So we're going to slow down and stop. I'm going to turn around. And you see how we slowed down instead of just locking up to stop right away. You want to make sure you don't do anything sudden. I'm going to go around Kenny. Then I'm going to turn and go back. You don't need to try to look back right away. You can cause, an accident or something. This is Frank here. So you're going to hear Laura and I talking about her bike. That's her bike right there. That's her spare bike. So the bike I was talking about, that's delaminating, she has it in the shop. That's why I asked, where's your bike?
Well, what happens, Laura, is they have little electronic chips and whatever in there.
We're talking about her shifter.
Sending, like when when you actuate it tells it how far to jump. Those things can take. And so they're going to have to either replace the whole shifter or send the shop to part. The problem is finding out what part. Chances are they'll just get a whole new shifter.
That's what they said. They said they would try to figure it out.
I would just get a whole new shifter because
probably he's going to have to.
Anything electronics got to talk to, it's got to tell the derailleur how far to jump.
Yeah.
These guys are manual, so they're set. The hinges jump like 1.5 or whatever.
Yeah.
And so something electronically has failed. So you can hear it actuate, it just doesn't move.
Yeah, well, the button stays stuck. It doesn't bounce back.
Oh, okay. So I would just put a new shifter because
So her electronic shifter has failed.
Troubleshooting to find out exactly what's working.
Because Shimano won't sell you the part anyway. They want you to buy a whole new shifter.
Stuff, that's a cop out. If you had used something on the frame, it would have.
We're talking about the paint. So because she has the shifter problem, she decided, let's kill two birds with one stone. Let's deal with the paint failure, the peeling.
It was when I was riding and I got caught in a light rain. It shouldn't do that.
No. So.
And then I went online and I found one other person that had a Cervelo, and there's bubbles in the same. It was all bubbling right here. And Cervelo told him, well, that's we don't normally see that.
Well, yeah, those are the.
And then he goes, I don't think they're trying to discredit you. They just want to understand. And I'm
Well,
like,
whatever.
okay, yeah.
That's okay if you don't see it. Make 1,000 frames and 2 or 3 got those. Warranty it. That's business.
Yep, that's it.
Because it's paint.
And it's supposed to be a lifetime warranty for the owner, and it's
No, and that's paint. It's not because of Cervelo. Paint is real finicky. You can paint 1,000 frames, and one of them will bubble up.
Right.
Then what we usually do is strip it down and repaint.
On this, but this bike has a lot of miles. That's normal wear and tear. I'm okay because this clear coat came like this. But that's it. It's not like it's not bubbling the way that is.
She's talking about a scuff on that bike.
I cannot.
That's paint. That's just. If you talk to any painter, it happens.
Yeah.
Happens to cars or whatever.
It clearly, it's not even.
It's like you sell somebody a flagship and the paint start bubbling, warranty it. Yeah, it's like you're not going to build goodwill, and if she continues to be unhappy with the bike, anybody that asks her about the bike, she's going to let them know, don't buy a Cervelo. This is how they treated me.
And the hood looks like it's, it happens.
Yeah, that's paint. Paint is finicky. You talk to any paint shop, there are some paint jobs don't come out right. They got to go back, strip it down, and do it right. It happens. You know, there's no guarantee that will hold.
It happens. That's paint.
I'm not trying to make it up.
Any painter will tell you. There are some bikes you just paint, they're great. Then you paint one and like, oops, what's going on?
I've had that frameless.
And then wavy. Sometimes you paint, and then depending on what's going on with the weather or whatever, or how you applied the paint, it just doesn't dry right or whatever. And, you know, it's nothing that she did. I've spent enough time around that frame to know that it's like she went on one ride, light rain, boom, the paint started bubbling up like it was a blister in multiple places. The clear coat. So that's what she's dealing with. Now they want to ask a million questions.
Who's supposed to cover it? Exactly. You didn't paint it.
Not really the paint.
they're telling the shop that they didn't paint it, but somebody painted it for you.
It's subcontracted out to get the clear coat or whatever, but we should cover it. Send
That's
it to
just
that
goodwill.
painter.
That's good business.
So when I bought my tie frame, the guy sent it somewhere else to paint.
Yeah.
But if something happens to it, he's not going to tell me to contact the painter. That's his guy that he works with. It's not the easiest route.
Yeah, it's a style.
Like this guy.
The good thing is it doesn't happen often. So you've sold enough of the frame. Step up, take care of this one. I think I need to give her a new frame. She's dealt with enough headaches on this frame.
It's like all this.
The person who asked that question does not know paint. If you blast it with a power washer, it will remove it. It will not bubble.
Yeah, exactly.
It will basically scrape it off. Yeah, it will scrape it off. No.
Remember at first it looked like it had like the wrap on it.
It's like a blister. It looks like a blister.
Yeah, power washer will not cause your paint to blister.
Peel the paint off.
And you'd have to really have a serious power wash. I mean, come on. Yeah. They're trying to wimp out of a warranty thing.
It's time to step up. Yeah.
I forgot the camera was on as we were doing all of this, but once I played it back and listened to the clip, I felt like, oh, I'll leave this on.
$100 to send somebody just to tell you.
Yeah, we're talking about home warranty.
Well, what the hell I need you for? Yeah. So I got rid of it. Yeah.
Home warranty, pay that money to come. Then they say we don't cover it, but you paid $100. In addition to what you pay every month, you got to pay every time you file a claim for your home warranty. Home warranty is a ripoff. Don't buy any of those packages. They're a complete ripoff. Put your money in the bank and hire somebody when something breaks.
But the guys that would come to them, they weren't the best. Just to come and tell you, I don't cover it. What the hell am I paying you $100 on top of what I pay every month? So you come tell me you don't cover it? What do I need you for? Got rid of it. For the money we're giving them every month, I just put it in the
the fixed home.
Yeah, exactly. Because I can pick my own tax. I hate how reflection's cold. Yeah, you can't really use your hand.
Yeah, we're talking about repairing a flat when it's cold.
Yeah, those things.
Yeah, his rim is tight. He's got a tubeless rim.
Continental tires on a tubeless ready rim.
So in a little bit, we're going to resume because I turned the camera off here when I realized it was still running. I forgot to turn it on right away. So I turned it on as we approach the overpass here. We're almost finishing the overpass. And we're going to go, and now the construction barrels start. So from here into Magnolia, they've still been working on this road more than a year. I don't know what they're doing between here and Magnolia. And hopefully when they're done, it will be worth it. But it's just taking so long. And they got these barrels just sitting up here. They're not doing any work up here. So I don't know why they've got this lane closed. This part of it is not logical. I guess they're getting the traffic directed into the left lane early because once they get down at the end, maybe they want them queued up in one lane to the left. That's probably what that is. So I end up just getting off of there. This part is clear. So you can see, why are the barrels here? Why don't you start the barrels later? So I'm sure there's a good reason. You know, they want to get these people shepherded early. So there's no last minute decision or whatever. But from here, about probably 10 kilometers, 6 miles into Magnolia, it's all construction. But we haven't been out there for years, for at least more than a year, maybe 2 years. And it's just a mess to try to ride at. It's just not safe. We have other ways to go out there, but it just adds more kilometers. So I'm gonna ride up. You can see my watts are up. We're going to be turning left in a bit. So from Tamina to Magnolia High School at the overpass there, they're finished the construction. So at least it's good that that part is open. We're able to come up at the overpass. So I'm trying to think next time. I guess the overpass is not that bad. Especially early in the morning. But coming back is good too. So next time we'll come back, I'll route us the other way. Because the week before they came back this way. So this is 149. So it's 11. So it's warming up nicely. It's 11 Celsius. It's 50 degrees thereabout.
So Garrett's battery is going bad.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't catch us.
Yeah, he might still. It's early.
Well, I mean, with that flat.
So when I started, it was significantly colder than it is now.
Go back home. If the battery dies, you can't use your eye.
Well, you're going to try and pick off the post stuff.
We're talking about Garrett, who had the coin cell battery that failed. He's going to pick up one. That's what Shempusan just said. He's going to pick up one from the store, and then he's going to try to catch back up. So Doug has said he's surprised he didn't catch up because we're standing on the side of the road for some time. And so, but he ends up catching us later once we're at the store, catching up with us. Yeah, you need to make sure if you have like SRAM, I think it's SRAM, whichever electronic components that have a battery in the shifter. They have those coin cell batteries. But once they go, I believe the SRAM has that. Once they go like that, you can't shift effectively. So he ended up finding one. I end up replacing mine seasonally. So like every winter I replace it because it lasts about 9 months or so. But you can never tell when they're gonna go. They just quit on you. I'm not talking about the ones that you recharge, like the Di2 seat post battery. His system must be the SRAM that has a battery in the shifter itself, and that's a coin cell one that failed, not the battery that's at the derailleur that you recharge. Because it's hard to gauge what's left, I guess. Unless there's some kind of way, if you have a reader for it. The road is slightly up here. There's a slight grade, nothing major. Erwin looks like he's in a heavy gear. So we ended up riding around 24 to 25 miles an hour. So this is really good, and that's why I titled it Steady Group Speed. It's more effective to ride like this than to do 29, 30 for a few seconds, and then you drop half of your groove, and then you slow back down. So this way you just keep whatever you're doing. And so this is a good clip. I mean, we're moving here. And I'm approaching like sweet spot sitting in the wheel, so it's a good effort. And it's very, very steady, whoever's up there. You know what I mean? Steady meaning that when the road slightly goes up like 1% or whatever, the effort stays there. They press on the pedals. There weren't a whole lot of yo-yoing at this point. You know, we're just riding. The train's just moving. It's nice. So I really enjoyed it. See how Erwin matches his jersey, those socks, they really pop. So he pulled the main color from the jersey and you got the sock going. So as his legs are moving, it's very visible. You don't need to spend a lot for your kit. They need to fit you well, and they need to be put together well. Match your colors as best as you can. And when there's a doubt, just wear a black short with anything you want on the top. But when you start getting these multicolor shorts, then you got to really wear it with the kit it came with. And another thing that I think looks best is if you're going to wear a pro team kit, a pro team that you favor, wear the whole kit. You know, don't take their short and put it with another jersey. It doesn't work because those guys, those teams, they design the kit to go together. You know what I mean? So if you're gonna buy the kit, you can either get just the top, especially if it's a team that's wearing it with like black shorts, then just get the top. That's fine. But if it's a multicolored short matching with a pro team jersey, get the whole kit, and when you wear them together. They just look best. Instead of mixing and matching, you know, I think it's kind of disrespectful to the team that you say you like. You're gonna advertise for that team, then do it like they do, because they don't play. They, you know, like those guys, they wash the staff. They wash their cars every day to make sure that they're representing their sponsors. You know, it's a lot of work being on those teams. There's a lot of support staff, you know. Kitchen crew and whatever else, masseurs, you know. guys that hand up, feed. I mean, there's a lot involved in keeping a pro team functioning. So it is clear that Erwin puts thought into what he wears. And I think every cyclist should do that. Doesn't need to cost you a lot, but take the little extra time and get them to match. Because even the vendors will help you. They give suggestions in the pictures of what things go with. When there's a doubt, just wear it with black. Because black goes with everything. And I like to wear black shorts because if I have to do any kind of work on the side of the road or my hands get dirty, you can wipe it on your black shorts. I don't like my handlebar tape dirty. So you wipe it on your shorts, and I mean, within reason. You're not going to get a glob of grease on your shorts, just saying a little smudge here and there. And then when you get home, you clean that bad boy because it doesn't show. I think that's the main reason the shorts are black. Besides the fact that they go with everything. Every rider has their own style. When I see Erwin from a distance, I know it's Erwin. When I see the guy in front of him, I believe that's English Mike, we call it. We have a lot of mics in the group. Every rider, when you've ridden with people for some time, you can see the form of the rider is distinctive to that rider. So Bradbury in front of Erwin looks a certain way on the bike. The guy in front of Bradbury is called Jorge. He looks a certain way on the bike. He reminds me of one of the Alejandros. I don't know if it was Alejandro Valverde. Yeah, I believe. And then Kenny. So everybody in the distance, like when you see a rider in the distance, there's a familiar form. You're like, I know who that is. Like Greg Schott. I know who, when I see Greg Schott right now, I know it's Greg Schott. I don't need to be close enough to identify him. Just a form. It's like the silhouette, so to speak. It's kind of like when you go to a party, you can spot your friend in the group just by their form, their silhouette. You get to know them. Our move out here is clear to let them know we can use this lane as we go straight across. This is where this 149 becomes Jackson Road, and 149 continues to the right as 149. That would take you into Keenan. If you turned right here, to take you into Keenan. So we thank the driver for waiting patiently. We're going through as a train. Right here, I think it's like 2% or something. It kicks up pretty quickly. It's short. I was using a reasonably sized gear. I was just right around 100 as we went over that little slight gradient. You have to save your legs. There's a time to push and there's a time to spin the gear. So just riding a lot of hours puts load on your body. Now, riding a lot of hours at high intensity puts an even bigger load on your body. There's a lot of software out there that can let you know, even some of the Garmin's have them on there, how much load you put on your body today versus whatever. You've got to vary that and make sure you have enough rest between your high load days to make sure you recover. I stay a little to his right so I can see around him to see what's going on. I like this road. Look at the trees. And they're not at their fullest. It is we're in the fall now. But still, we have some evergreens here. Some of the trees have dropped leaves. So you see how steadily everything's kind of rolling along, 23 miles an hour, just steady, nice and steady. So if you're feeling strong, sit up there, take a 5-minute pull or a 10-minute pull. This is a guy that his first time riding was Ms. Armando. It's on a TT bike. He moved to our area from the southwestern part of town called Sugarland, and he's just moved up here recently. Paul added him to the group chat. Erwin's Garmin Varia is on steady. I don't leave mine on steady because it really runs your battery down. I keep it on the flickering mode. The blinking lights uses less power. But it is very visible. You can tell from the angle. You can see now I'm close to him. You can't really tell, but from a distance, the beam is wider. You will see right now. Look at that. The beam gets larger. So the further you are away from these lights, now it's flickering. Okay. So it must have been the radar. Okay, the radar flickers. That's what it is. He has it in the mode where as the car goes by, the light flickers. When there's no car, then it's steady. That's smart. That's really smart. When there's no motion or anything nearby, it gets steady. So I guess that's how it, because mine gets like 14 hours or something ridiculous like that. I just charge mine once a week because I ride about 10 plus hours a week. So yeah, so that's what it is when you got cars passing or someone coming up behind you. Yep, there's a car passing, so it flickers as you have company. That makes sense. That's a smart light. I really like it. Since I modified the chime to give me a single chirp, I really like it because it used to be very busy. I don't ride without it. Where the speeds are going up because this is a slight downhill. The effort is the same. You see the line? We got a nice tight line. So I was very, very pleased with the group this weekend. Everybody came and just worked. So remember, those of you who've been on the channel for a while, somebody had suggested a new rider that, oh, you're not supposed to ever coast in the pace line. I'm like, how is that possible? Yeah. I mean, we soft pedal, we coast. Other people slow down while you're supposed to just keep pedaling and run over them. So in the same range of the effort, the road just slightly went up, so the speed dropped just a tad. And I think somebody else took over the pull at the front, keeping the effort the same. This is just nice and smooth. I was very surprised. I was like, oh, okay. You know, now once we got in the hills off camera, you know, once they get to the hills, everybody wanted to, I guess, test themselves. Everybody started to push. But we stayed together, really. You know. I think Mike's trying to get something out of his pocket in front of Erwin there. He unzipped his gilet. I like the gilets I have a double zip, so I can unzip the bottom to get at my pockets. Cows on the right. It's funny, we're not that far from town. We're about, let's see, an hour and a half from town. We got cows in the pasture. In fact, about a mile from my house, so about, 1.5 kilometers from my house. And there's cows in the pasture right next to the freeway. We have a tollway called 99. And next to the high school, they got cows in the pasture. It's kind of funny. You know you're in a rural. This is what I was talking about. You can see this road. The road ends and you got a guardrail. So if you're a pedestrian, where are you going to walk? Because our area that we live in, we're outside of the city center. I think that car was blowing at another car that was trying to sneak over the yellow line. That's what I suspect. Yep. Because he was not being patient. Instead of waiting till that guy goes, he was sneaking over. That's what that was about. I was wondering. I saw briefly in my mirror. I wanted to make sure we weren't doing anything that he was blowing at. So whenever you ride with a group, you're never going to do exactly what you plan to do. So it is best that you plan your hardest workouts to ride with a group, unless the group is very disciplined and you know that you can do your lighter workouts with that group. Otherwise, it is best to ride by yourself or with a mate that is disciplined. Because once you get over 5 riders, you can forget it. The group takes on a life of its own. Because you don't need a very large group to have a good workout. Between 3 to 5 riders is plenty. It's not the size of the group that matters, it's what you're trying to accomplish. It is easier to do with a group, so whenever possible, join a group if they meet your need. If not, then you ride by yourself. You get strong, you get fit by staying with your program if you have one. If you don't, then yeah, the group will dictate what you do. And that's another way you can get in shape too. But then you won't really understand how you're getting there. So depending on what you're trying to accomplish, it helps to keep notes in a diary or something so you can track what you're doing. That way, if you get the expected results, you can see, okay, what got me here? Or if you get an unfavorable result, you can say, okay, what have I been doing that may have led to me not riding well or whatever? This is the reason why it helps to have a plan to understand what you're doing so that you can replicate and get ready for like a Grand Fondo or an important ride or any other ride, knowing that if I do this, this, and this, kind of like a recipe. If I do this, this, and this on this day, I'm going to be at my best. If I do that, that, and that on this day, I'll be at my best. That's the whole reason when we say training, that's what we're talking about. You got to know how much work to do, how much rest to add, because it's work and rest that gets you there. Don't just say, oh, I had a good ride today, I'm going to go do more tomorrow. You got to make sure you're recovering. It doesn't mean you stop riding, but you mix up the recipe You don't want to be riding hard all the time. The body needs a chance to absorb and adapt from what you're throwing at it. And it's not just coming from training, it's coming from life and your relationships and whatever else that's going on to decide. So if you're tired, do a lighter workout or no workout that day. Listen to your body, because it's not just the workout that's making you tired. It's work or whatever else you got going on that may be leading. Exercise is stress. Life has its own stresses. So the body deals with these stresses and it lets you know, I'm dealing with a lot. And you get up in the morning, you're feeling like meh. Well, your body's dealing with a lot. Then that's not the day to go hammer yourself. But you get up and you're feeling great, and you do the work. I always told Paul, I said, if you see me at the front pulling, that means I'm feeling good. That's it. That's the reason I go up there, to help the group. That's it. So, it's something to think about. You don't have to go out and get a coach, but educate yourself about just training human physiology. The human body can only tolerate so much stress before you dig yourself into a hole. And then, we have a phrase that we use, overtraining or whatever else. Overtraining is not only caused by the cycling or exercise related stress. It's all the stresses that we have not recovered from. So when you got a lot going on in addition to training, then you might want to have a lighter week that week. That's why I tell people all the time, when you come to a group ride and somebody gets dropped, it doesn't mean you're a better rider necessarily. You don't know what's going on with that person. They may just be tired that day. Or they had a rough week or didn't sleep well the night before. You don't know. Even at a race, if somebody shows up and they're having an off day, that means they're just having an off day and you just happen to be having a good day. Your challenge should be, okay, what did I do that made me come to this event or ride or Grand Fondo in great shape? And then you try to replicate it. But this is after Logan had taken off those leg warmers and he was feeling better probably. But it's kind of like what I was talking about is you buy stuff in cycling or anything, it doesn't do it, send it back. You get a lot of this stuff on TV where they say, no risk purchase or some stuff like that. I hope I'm quoting it right. They're banking on the fact that most people are too busy to bother returning stuff. So they figure, we're going to sell this crap anyway. Let's promise them that they got like a month, 30-day money back guarantee. They call it no risk purchase or whatever. Because they're banking on a lot of people. Some people will order stuff and don't even open it for a month. And, feel free to put in the comments if you know people that do that. Some people order stuff. My wife does it all the time. Stuff will come. She buys stuff from Temu and they come in and it's sitting here 2-3 days. I'm like, aren't you curious to know if what you ordered is in there and it's correct? Because me, when I order stuff, I open it right away. Because if it's not right, it's going back. I don't mess around, because I get a lot of stuff from Amazon and you got 30 days most of the time. And they're very good about returns. So that's another thing, another reason I choose them. They're good about returns and they deliver. I think they rival the postal service in reliability now because Amazon delivers. They don't mess around. And that's there was a guy in basketball called Karl Malone. They call him the mailman because he delivered. He was in Utah. And you call him the mailman Malone. And Amazon delivers, man. They don't mess around. It says something's coming, it's coming. And you can rely. I use them a lot. When I need something right away for a customer or something, I get it right away, and they get it to you. Sometimes, like they've got a warehouse open within a kilometer of my house, and sometimes they'll deliver stuff the morning of, like you order it the night before, and between 10 and 5 a.m. it's sitting at your door. I'm like, really? Wow, So yeah, but no, don't feel like, it's too much of a hassle. If you're gonna spend the time to buy something with your hard-earned money, check it out. Does it do what you want? Is it what you expected? If not, make the time and send that sucker back. And then be even more selective in what you buy in the future. I'm talking about different things because, like I said, I enjoyed this ride. I mean, look at what we're doing. We're doing 43 kilometers, but that's not because somebody is pushing. That's because we're going slightly downhill. Now it's flat. It's the effort is the same. In fact, I'm actually under zone 2 here. So it was very, very steady up until this point. Once we left the first stop, it got harder. Now, this wasn't easy for everybody. We had a couple of riders who turned back after the first stop. But I'm just saying that the ride was steady. It was really good to see that people were taking longer pulls. They were not going up there and doing the foolishness a few weeks ago I showed in the forest where somebody would go for a 10-second acceleration, then sit on the left, whatever. We're riding like a pace line, and I really like that. And I'm going to compliment them next week when I do the ride. I'm going to let them know it was nice to see us in a pace line the whole time. And I didn't have to say anything. I think the riders that showed up today, the level of experience was probably higher. And, you know, these guys have been doing steady rides when I'm not here. I don't do every ride because last week I didn't attend. I couldn't. But they're getting used to it. They see the benefit, and it's getting there. Now, I don't try to anchor anybody if they want to do an acceleration or a surge or whatever. We don't, you know, I just don't follow personal. The group does whatever. When we got to the hills, they were pushing. I looked at my effort. I said, the hill's kind of short. And I like Johnson Road. We're on one of my favorite roads out here called Johnson Road. We need to film that. I'm going to make sure we film that the next time we go. Because, in fact, tomorrow we're going with Abby's group. And we're going to do that same Johnson Road. There's just certain roads that no matter how tired I am, I'm just pumped. Another road is Honia, Egypt. I don't care how tired I am. I get on Honia, Egypt, and I feel like I have a slice of adrenaline. There's something about that road from the time I moved to the side of town. I just always liked it. You get on the road, you just want to ride. It is not the smoothest road or the prettiest road, but it has a character. It's something about it. You know, you probably have a road in the area that makes you want to push on the pedals. You know, so I love to go on Honia, Egypt, especially if I'm doing, let's say I want to do a little interval or something, because I know I'm just going to be enthused and pumped to do it. So you got to do that. You got to, whatever makes you get out on your bike. I have certain routes that make me excited to go ride. Just, you know, traffic free or whatever. Cut through certain neighborhoods. Get to know certain dogs. When the dog's not there, sometimes I'm a little disappointed when it's not outside. So right here, you see, look at my watts. These boys kick it up. Look at watts, 602. You see my RPM? That's what it takes. High RPM to save your legs. Because it's early in the ride. We're under 2 hours. And I rode like 7 hours or something like that. So when the guys are going around the curve, you got to stay close. Otherwise, you will have to work hard. So I did 600 watts. That was necessary. Even though I was fairly close, that was what was necessary to get up to speed quickly. It's better to expend the energy quickly, get in the draft, and back off than to be chasing for too long. So if you're trying to bridge up to somebody, it's better to do it hard and fast and get it over with, get there and sit in, instead of trying to take all day to get there. Sometimes you have to measure your effort, but a lot of times it's best to get it done and turn off that power and save that energy. You know, close that gap and then you sit in and you can see my watts have dropped. But we're still riding almost 250 plus, so this road is a slight grade. Yeah, oh, slight, 2.2. I thought it was like 1%. And it's cracking, so people will be pointing out cracks. The whole time I'm riding, I'm looking for the cracks. Parts of it cracks. And they're getting kind of uncomfortably split to where you can feel it if you roll over them. They're not smooth. They're not smooth cracks anyway. You see the asphalt, the black asphalt that they put on there to try to seal it, to stop water from sinking into the road. It's cracking because whatever the substrate is under it is being washed away. And so the asphalt has no support. So it's falling. You see? That's what Mike's pointing at. So the run on the right has gone down. So the road has like a step. And so they put those asphalt, the asphalt oil, almost like glue for the road. Just a few years ago, they resurfaced this road. All our nice roads. It's these cars that are damaging the roads. If it were just bicycles, the road would never crack. It's that truck. See that? That's the culprit. So I don't know what you did this Saturday, but this is part of what we did on Saturday. We missed having Abby. We missed having Paul Ilonga. It was not on the ride, but I think they had other things going on. Paul rode on Sunday, but I think he did a solo ride. And so hopefully he'll be back. But, you know, this is part of what we did on Saturday. I'm going to let the tape play. We rolled to the stop. That's the first stop. That we call that Taco Corner number 2. They got good water, good restroom, and all the drinks you need. You know, whether it's Gatorade. I like to get iced tea sometimes. There are cars on the ride. We just let people know. We let people know so that even though the group is going through, if you're at the back, you got to still look to see if you have enough time to get through. So you see Laura pointed. I just turn in here. So it had rained a lot the week before, but I was still able to get some caves in my legs. So hopefully I'll get in decent condition to continue. So to that effect, let no one stop you from getting your caves in. Keep every doctor fired.